Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Talking Poop. I'm your host Jason Bromley, and with me today are two lovely ladies. One of these ladies being my wife, Lauren Renee Bromley.
Hey!
And the other is a disgusting trench wench that I shouldn't even allow into my home, Alicia Irino. Alicia is actually here in studio today. She's joining us from the great state of Iowa.
I'm here from Iowa. I got lost in the cornfields and somehow ended up here.
She was running backwards naked through a cornfield. She tripped, fell through a wormhole, and landed in Arizona.
With a corn cob up my butt.
But that was there before she even started her adventure.
Yes. Yes, it was.
So, ladies, I feel like a Jason sandwich right now. I'm the meat, and you're two sexy pieces of white bread.
Don't ever put me in a sandwich with you. Don't ruin food for me.
If you were in our sandwich, you'd be the dirty pickle.
Joke's on you. I love pickles.
Especially dirty ones that you found on the floor.
That's a good pickle.
There's nothing wrong. You pull a little lint off a pickle.
Look, 5-second rule.
Exactly.
Sometimes 30-second rule. If you don't look at it right away.
Sometimes a minute or a couple day rule, as long as you didn't see the pickle fall.
I mean, what is time, really?
Really?
Honestly.
I mean, when it comes to pickles.
In the grand scheme of life, I'm not going to be on my deathbed being like, oh, I shouldn't have ate that dirty pickle.
Well, maybe, because the dirty pickle is what puts you in your deathbed.
But you know what I will do on my deathbed? Damn, I really should have eaten that dirty pickle. Go through life with no regrets. No regrets.
You might regret a dirty pickle, though.
I want that on my headstone when I die.
Here lies a disgusting trench wench. She died from eating a dirty pickle.
But at the bottom in tiny letters, no regrets. Alright, stop making fun of me. Let's get this show on the road.
It's so easy.
All right, today, in honor of the upcoming holiday, which is Valentines Day, we're going to be talking about the most romantic movies.
Do you lose sleep at night? Grab your pillow tight. Do you struggle to find why Han and Luke had to die? Are you just a mess? Does Hollywood leave you stressed? Because their sequels are more important than fan requests. Hold on to your chair, cause Talking Poop takes you there. You might have to change into some new underwear. Talking Poop.
All right, so for this episode, the three of us have put together a list of our top 5 most romantic movies. And I cannot wait to hear what these ladies have to say about their top 5 most romantic films. Mm-hmm. We're going to start with Lauren. Lauren.
Yes.
If you could stop picking crusties out of your robe.
I don't
for a
know.
second.
Whatever those kids of ours left on my robe, it might be a booger. I don't know. That was you.
When you weren't here,
I knew we should have let her in the house
and wore your robe.
When I came home, all I saw was like a flash of robe run down the hall, and then Alicia popped out, and I was like, "Where's Lauren?" And she was like, "Elsewhere."
I was like, "Don't worry about it."
Turned out you weren't home.
Yeah.
And Alicia was in a pair of tidy whities.
They were yours.
I washed them first.
He kept asking questions too, like he was writing a fucking novel about me. He was like, "Can you put my picture on the back at least?" Jeez.
Imagine that.
He's like, "Where's my wife? What's that smell?" Like, calm down. Like, let me do my thing. I'm on vacation, goddammit.
We always love when Alicia visits. And more than that, we love when Alicia leaves.
Your wife, she hates it that I have to leave, but she loves it to watch me walk away.
That's not how that goes.
Yeah. I've used it so many times, and that's how I got my future husband. So
your future husband. Well, okay, Earl, so do you want to hear...
I want to hear number 5 from Lauren.
Wait, what's the 1 to 5? Like, is 5 the best?
Is 5 ever the best? When do you hear?
Well, for
5 is better than 1.
This is my top number 5 favoritist.
Well, you're stupid, so you would say that, and you'd be like, Alicia, number 1's not the best, you disgusting trash
I'm gonna
person.
get you a t-shirt, Alicia, that says, I'm Jason's number 5th favorite.
Gross.
Alright, Lauren, lay it on us. Number 5.
So I couldn't do them in order from most favorite. I know what you asked.
I asked you to do one thing, and it was to put 5 movies in the order.
But you also asked.
I guess I should have been more specific.
2 seconds ago, you're like, hey, write down your favorite.
The reason it's hard for me to put them in order of favorite is because they're all in such different categories.
They were supposed to be your most romantic.
They are romantic, but some of them are comedy, some of them are serious.
I picked the top 5 that I would masturbate to.
Oh, see, you have a common denominator there. I don't. I was all over the place.
So number 1 is King Kong.
And then recently I saw The Meg. That one's number 1. Spoiler alert.
Okay, I'm just going to say, out of the top 5, what I would watch on any given day would probably be Walk in the Clouds.
With whom and whom?
With Keanu Reeves. It was when he was so young. Have you never seen that?
I've seen A Walk in the Clouds, but I'd like you to talk about it for the podcast, please.
I haven't seen it. I don't know. Do they walk on clouds?
No.
But it's Keanu.
It's Keanu Reeves. I think it's during World War I.
The prequel to The Matrix.
Yeah, totally. And he's coming home from war, and I guess he was
coming home from war.
Well, he came back. He was trying to reintegrate back into society, and he was selling chocolates. And he met this girl on a train who turned out she got pregnant out of wedlock. And back then,
on the train from Keanu?
No.
Did Keanu? When you say he's selling chocolate, I think of
it's
that
SpongeBob like door-to-door salesman of like people used to go with vacuum cleaners or.
All I can think about with chocolate now is because we watched Goldmember last night, and I just think of Mini-Me stuffing chocolates in his mouth.
I think of that SpongeBob episode where they're trying to sell chocolate, and there's that one fish that's like, chocolate.
That's like me all the time.
So Keanu is trying to sell chocolate on a train.
No, he's selling chocolate, and he is riding a train somewhere
to sell chocolate.
To get more chocolates. It doesn't go into that, but this
is a romance movie?
Yes. So what happens is he meets this beautiful girl on the train, and she's crying, she's upset, he's trying to help her.
Because she's in labor.
Because she's beautiful. No, she's not even showing it.
Does he give her a chocolate?
He takes the metal band off of one of the, chocolates, yeah. A truffle. It was a truffle. And he bends them around her finger and his finger. And he says that he's going to go to California with this girl to go to meet her.
We're stuck finger to finger now.
Yeah.
So you are mine.
Like a ring. No. They both have rings, matching rings from chocolate foils.
So he's like, here, have my chocolate. Whoa.
Or he's like, that brown stuff isn't chocolate, sorry. Honestly, if I was on a train and some random ass guy came up to me and was like, here, put my poopy wrapper around your finger. I'm gonna follow you now to California. Like,
seriously, where's the romantic part coming?
All right. Well, so he's trying to save her from being ruined by her poor life choices, and says he's going to play along with the scheme of going back to her family's vineyard in California and pretending to be married to her, and that's when she was going to tell her family that she was pregnant. And this whole time he's trying to help her, and he only has a few days, and then he's going to leave. And what he's going to end up doing is saying that he just left her because he found out she was pregnant or whatever. And so being a pregnant woman back then who was abandoned was not as nearly awful as being an unmarried woman who got pregnant.
So this took place in the 1980s?
Yeah. Yep. Mhm.
The 1980s.
So anyway, in the process of this whole lie, he falls in love with her and him, and the family likes him. And the reason it's the Walk in the Clouds is because they are vintners and
Because they're on cloud 9. They're walking on the clouds 9.
Yeah. They're
is
at a
what they're
higher
doing.
elevation.
Like in the mountains on the cloud 9.
Yes. Yes, they
I
are
get
in the
it.
mountains.
Do they say cloud 9 in the movie?
They don't.
Do they say walking on clouds?
Are you sure?
They do.
Are you sure it was California? Because wasn't she French and didn't it take place in France?
Yeah,
No,
France.
she was Mexican or Latino from somewhere
Whoa,
in
hang
Central
on now.
America.
It is Latino.
Mexican American.
Latina.
Yeah, at the time, I guess that would have been what she was. They were freshly immigrated, so...
I feel like she's being racist, but I don't know.
I feel like she's not, but you are.
Oh no!
And we just lost 20,000 followers.
All right, well that sounds like a beautiful story. Alicia, what is your number 5?
Well, I'm a basic ass trash person. So I picked number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I picked for number 5, The Notebook.
Good that you actually counted that one out.
Yeah,
You
because
couldn't
That's
possibly...
a pretty basic bitch selection.
But I don't give a fuck because I love that movie and I cry only because there's one part that makes me cry. All these basic ass motherfucking bitches, they cry over the whole thing like, oh my god, they were so in love and blah blah blah. But the one thing that gets me to cry is the part where, have you guys seen
When
it?
they die together.
No,
Oh,
not
that
even
one
that.
gets me.
That one when they die together, I'm like, oh, finally. It's like when you take
like
a
this
shit.
movie was really long.
It's like when you take a shit and it's like you can feel it's just the end and you're like, come on. And it gets out and you're like, ah, finally.
This was such a classy episode. We made it to 12 minutes before you brought up shit. And
Your
ruined
shit.
it. All right, what makes you cry?
So the part where they're like old again and they're like, he's reading to her and then there's like the date night or whatever and then she remembers and they start dancing and then she forgets and he starts crying. The second I see him cry, I'm like, don't do it. Like, I would rather have a corn cob up my ass than see that man cry. He's just so emotional and I can't hold back.
He's so emotional.
And I ugly cry in movies. Like, I have boogers, like, dripping down my teeth. Because I'm just like, and I'm like, I can't talk. And I'm like, hyperventilating. Like, and it's like, people make fun of Kim Kardashian and how she cries. And I'm like, that's one of my biggest fears is becoming a meme, but becoming a gif of me crying.
A meme of a gif of you crying? What do you call that?
A gif? A game? I don't know.
I feel like you're magifted.
Stop being such a pedo.
So, did you guys see the after credit sequence on The Notebook?
No.
Where it shows that the old man was really just the guy who was the next door neighbor in the retirement home, and that her husband never even showed up. It was
Shut
just
your
some
fucking
weird,
mouth.
weird creeper like creeping on her the whole time.
You should.
Why is this happening?
We are experiencing technical difficulties.
Oh my god!
Jason doesn't know how to do fucking shit. Is this a coaster?
Yeah.
Oh, why do you have a coaster?
I thought it would help. I think it'll hold now. I think we should be good.
Oh.
No. Alright. Hey, everybody, want to hear my number 5?
No.
No, definitely not.
Well, fuck you guys. I'm going to tell you anyway. My number 5 is Good Will Hunting. Because I feel like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were really, truly in love with each other in that movie.
And in real life.
No, seriously, though, like, the relationship between Matt Damon and Minnie Driver in that, like, really gets to me. And, there's that scene where he just, like, she's like, tell me you don't love me and I'll leave forever. And he's, like, thinking about it, and he doesn't want to say it, but he knows it's best if she's out of his life. And he's like, I don't fucking love you. And she starts crying so real and so ugly that it, like, breaks my heart every time.
Does she have boogers dripping down her teeth?
Probably, but not in the front like yours. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's bad.
All right, Lauren, your number 4 choice, please.
All right, I will go with How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
How do you lose a guy in 10 days?
Well, number 1, he named Alicia.
That's how to lose a guy in 5 minutes.
Number 2, open your mouth.
No,
3,
that might actually keep you.
ugly cry with snot and boogers pouring down the front of your teeth and face.
That's definitely how you keep a guy.
No.
Yeah, especially if you do
I
it
see
during
where this
sex.
problem is.
It's a fetish thing. They like it a lot.
I know how to lose a guy in the first night is to
Tell him
be
you're a guy.
totally naked, but spread the sheet out like you're Batman and then charge at him.
That's crazy because that somehow is getting me married. So it made an impression. And also, I'm Batman.
Does he need it every time now? Do you have to do Batman cosplay like
No,
every
he
time?
hates it, and I still do it. like sometimes, depending on what light is on, because I'm all about lighting. I don't like overhead lights that like are like in my eyeballs, and I'm just like, if I have to squint, I'm like, just turn a different light on. So like there was a lamp that I had in my room, and I turned that on, but I had to get up and turn the other light off, and so I took the comforter with me, and I hopped up, and I go. And I like fly over there, turn the light off, and I look at him, and I turn around, I got the blanket over my head, and he's just like, no. And I was like, hey, James, no. Who am I? No. He's like, hurry up, get back over here. I was like, oh, Batman. And I'd run and jump on him.
I would be the just dumbass that would try to do that and like land on their balls and just crush them.
No, Lauren would trip, fall over the frame of the bed, poke her eye out with my ding ding, and then like roll over that.
Ding,
ding ding. What do we mean, a little tugboat?
Sometimes I call it a little tugboat. And I have a little song that I sing. I'm a little tugboat, short and stout. Tip me over and peel fall. Sorry, that's gross. I don't know where that...
He practices that song every day for 3 hours in the front of the mirror. So how to lose a guy in 10 days.
Who's in it? What's it about?
Whom and whom? And what?
All right, it's Matthew McConaughey and
All right.
and Goldie Hawn's kid. What's her name?
Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson. Yeah.
Kate
Yeah.
Hudson. My girl, she's got that fabletics going on. I see it on Facebook all the time. I want to get 2 pair for $25.
I just saw her on Instagram feeding her baby and doing like yoga.
Yeah, because I do that too, so I'm cool.
I just do yoga with the baby.
I just take babies. I just find them. And they're like, Alicia, your Instagram post is like really classy. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, we didn't know you had kids. I'm like, I don't. I'm like, where'd you get that? And I'm like, I found it.
Alicia, your breastfeeding photo in the mall was so empowering. Like, yeah, that's not my baby.
Whatever. Jason, you got caught doing that just like the other day.
Sucking a baby. Wait. What'd I do to a baby?
Breastfeeding a baby in the mall.
I wasn't at the mall. I was at Jimmy John's, and they encourage that there.
It's a safe space at Jimmy John's.
What happens at Jimmy John's stays at Jimmy John's. All right, guys. You want to hear my number 4?
Well, Alicia didn't give hers.
Oh, Alicia,
That's
what's
okay.
what's your number 4 choice?
Whatever. Like, I want to go home now.
Alicia, it's so far away. Just tell
It's
us.
so far away.
And we don't know how to get you back home. We don't know where that worm tunnel's gonna pop out.
I just land in any cornfield. Any cornfield. Like, straight out of the sky.
Like in Jumanji, you're like, ah.
What year is it?
Then you're like tits up in a cornfield somewhere.
And I just hope to God a tractor doesn't run over me. They get close. They get close. My number 4 is P.S. I Love You. And I have a story about that movie. Well, not even about that movie. But yeah, Gerard Butler, and then Sandra Bullock, and beautiful Gerard Butler dies, and he's all Scottish. And
I don't
stuff.
think Sandra Bullock's in that
it?
movie.
I mean, not Sandra Bullock.
Hilary Swank.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hilary Duff.
Swank. You're such a punk.
Look, I had an edible, so like I'm getting my actors mixed up, but like it is Gerard Butler, right?
Yes.
Like, don't make me
Yeah.
feel
No,
stupid.
it is.
Gerard Butler
Hunky.
and
He'd be my Hollywood get married fantasy if I wasn't married to an amazing.
Do you hear how?
Yeah.
Do you hear how sweet she is? Her get married fantasy. She doesn't want to just fuck him. She wants to get married to him and live in a castle.
That should piss you off
He
even
is-
more.
It does.
No.
It truly does.
He's so cute, and he'd probably make a really great dad.
So she doesn't want to go to the Bone Zone. She wants to start her whole life over again with
Start a
him.
whole new family.
I said if I didn't have you.
I feel like if Gerard
See.
Butler just like sweat in a bottle, it'd be like the best cologne to like attract ladies.
No, because the only thing I can think of when I see him sweaty is the 300.
Yeah, they should call it Sparta.
Yeah, but
that's a good idea.
that's not like a pheromone like, oh, come hither.
Speak for
That's
yourself.
dirty. That's dirty ball smell.
Yeah, it
Oh, I
is.
know that's your favorite. Oh, Dubal.
Yeah, I am into. Yeah.
Is that Sparta? No, it's
my
just my balls.
Which I also call Sparta.
These are my balls.
I feel like the kicking scene is really
Yeah.
appropriate for that too.
Smell my balls.
So
Sparta.
I
I just gotta tell you real quick that's actually my number 3.
Oh,
I know I cheated
yes,
and
I
I
love
saw it. No, I didn't cheat it when I was writing mine down. But
Oh,
when you were
okay.
reading yours, I like saw. I was like, oh, shit, we got the same one.
Uh-huh.
But
I knew there would be overlap. I'm actually surprised that's not Lauren's number 1.
No,
But
it's not.
tell us. I have some thoughts on this movie. You said you have a story, so let's hear your
oh,
story.
my story is just that I was very, very lucky. At
Did you meet
Disneyland
Gerard Butler?
one day?
I hate you.
I didn't
So
get to
jealous.
Not only meet him, but I was walking.
You smelled his balls.
His
Did you walk in?
Sparta.
Sparta!
Smell my finger.
What did I eat for lunch? I was walking. I was actually leaving the park, and I was on Main Street, hand in hand with my ex at the time, and I'm walking, and like my whole entire left side of my body, it felt like I just like rammed it into a wall, and I like kind of like flew back, and I'm like, what the fuck? And who stands over me and says in his beautiful Scottish accent, but I'm so sorry.
No, you have to do it in the Scottish
I
accent.
can't.
You have
It's bad.
to. No,
you have to.
You have to.
You have to.
How,
Oh,
that's Australian.
I'm so sorry. I almost knocked you over,
No, you're
young
British.
lady.
Now, if I went from Australian to
I'm waiting for
British.
you to like go to like Oriental. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. I knocked you over. I don't know if you recognize me, but I Gerard Butler.
I do Sparta.
This is Sparta.
God Damn it. See, you are the racist one. Look at you.
I'm just doing my best Scottish accent.
I think it's great. You should go to Scotland because you would fit right in. Nobody would even notice.
Oh, I wear a kilt in Scotland.
Oh, I wear a kilt. Do I wear underwear?
How do you play these bagpipe?
Do I need to go to Broodery?
Look at these Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious.
God damn it. This is why we're not famous. This is exactly why this moment right here.
All right, tell us. What did he say? And say it like he said it.
He said, "Oh, I was so sorry."
The samurai warrior?
Oh, I knuckle you over. I pick you up now. You said he was just like really sorry, and I was in such a daze. Like it looked like I stared into the eyes of Jesus. And like the sun was behind him. It was like one of those. He moved his head just in the right position where like it blocked the sun from my eyes, and I'm like blinking, and my eyes are watering. And I'm like, ow. And
so did he hit you?
He hit me with his body by accident. Because it was so packed that day, and it just was like...
His body was so packed? Or
that And so...
Is he married? I don't think he is.
I hope not. So
Gerard, if you're out there listening, she's not tied the knot yet.
I still got time. Or you can even go for James too. We'll make it work with 3-way kind of situation. That's fine. I'm really great with kids. So yeah, and so he like helped me up, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I go, "No, you're fine. You're so fine." And I've never let go of somebody's hand faster in my life, but like the ex, I was just like, "The fuck away from me. Who are you compared to him?"
Let go of me, stranger.
I don't know. He's just trying to kidnap me.
If only there was a big man to save me.
But so I asked, I was like, "Oh, where are you going?" And he was with his like entire family, like it was a group of them. And he said he was going over to Space Mountain, and he thought I don't know if he thought I was kidding, but I was dead serious. Like, "Hey, you will come too." And he was just like,
"Oh, I was on my way to Space Mountain too."
That's weird. I have these fast passes, so I can go.
He's like, "I'm on my way to Space Mountain with my family."
I tried with my family. I tried to go, and like it's like I blinked and he was gone pretty much. He was just really far ahead because they have tour guides. So I was like, I didn't have a tour guide, but I learned that day how to master weaving in and out of people in large crowds, because I was like, I will never let an opportunity slip away like that again.
You really held hard on master. I thought you were gonna say you learned that day how to really masturbate. Like I rubbed it raw.
In fact, it went in and it hasn't come back out since. Until the day. It's like True Love's first kiss. I need Gerard's first kiss.
Really, it's just like a orange rind now.
It's like a shriveled and moldy mandarin.
And only James can make it bloom again. But he's got to get past the smell.
And some bugs and fruit flies. But that's okay. So that's my story, but I really like P.S. I Love You, because it's a super sweet story, and her like being depressed, like when he died, like the whole time I was just like, yeah, that's accurate. I would do that. I would be so sad. I'd be so just like not wearing pants in my apartment and not showering like I normally do. So, what's your controversial?
Well, my thing with that movie is that he is such a misogynist that after he dies, like he was controlling her life before when they were together, and then he dies and he sends letters and makes her do things she doesn't want to do. So he's still controlling her life from the afterlife. And I'm like, how can girls think that's so...
Wait, what did he do to control her in the...
He sent her letters and like she didn't want to like do karaoke, and he was like, "Oh, tonight you're gonna go out and sing a karaoke."
Sing a song to me. If I
if I could turn back time, if I can find some way.
Are we going to do hillbilly karaoke one of these podcasts?
Oh my god, we should totally do hillbilly karaoke. Yes.
Hillbilly karaoke.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be amazing. Next podcast.
Yeah.
Happening. But how was he
so
controlling like, before he died?
Because she couldn't survive her. She couldn't do her life. She was all sad and she was all bummed out all the time. And then she met this dude and he was wearing really tight jeans and you could see his sack and dick through it.
But Gerard Butler's sack of dick.
Yeah.
Let me just press pause on this for just a minute, okay? Because she wasn't just sad and lonely. She met him in Scotland while she was off globetrotting and being
She wasn't
independent.
globetrotting. I thought she was
traveling.
there like being a sad bastard.
No.
And then she was like, I'm going to go for a walk in the mud.
She was an art student.
And then he was like, you look like a lady.
You're not like me, ladies.
He was like, do you think these jeans are too tight?
Oh my god. It's just, it's bad.
And she's like, could be tighter.
It's not about him trying to control her, though. He and she were best friends.
BFFs.
Yeah, they were BFFs.
You wouldn't know.
No. And he understood her shortcomings, which everybody has
Which
them.
was a penis.
That too.
You look like you need a dick.
It almost makes it just hurts so bad that I want to throw up when you use that accent because it's just
I sound just like Gerard Butler.
like it's so awful. I can just
It makes me want to throw up, but that's anytime he talks. So.
yeah.
Do you want to go get some fried food and feed each other?
Okay, now you're switching into fat bastard because we watched Goldfinger last night. You look like a baby.
It's making me...
In my belly.
My belly. See, that's a good one. Just transpose the words from what
Look
yours.
at my belly. Look at my wiener.
I'm sad because I ate. I ate because I'm sad. I farted.
See, that was the Gerard Butler. You got it there.
I can
With
only
the
say that's the only word. I farted.
Now you said it like you.
Because I'm laughing.
No, that was more Irish, for sure.
I farted.
That's Scottish. Anyways, he knew she was going to be heartbroken and that she would need that extra little helping push. He was supporting her in death the way he supported her in life.
All right, so if I die and I leave you a message, like it comes in the mail, like by FedEx, like the next day, and it's
that
like,
message
hey.
better have a fucking check in it. That's all I gotta say.
if I leave you a message and I was like, hey, I know that you're sad that I'm dead, but maybe you should probably get the dishes done because I'm pretty sure they're piled up right now because you're all sad and shit.
He paid for a trip. He pretty much told her to go have a fling and get over him.
Yeah, that is the number one thing I won't be doing is being like, hey, why don't you go get some other penis while I'm dead?
I'm gonna be like, death is an aphrodisiac.
That's what also like serial killers
Wedding
say.
singer.
Yeah.
And like necrophiliacs say.
Sweet, what is it? Wedding Crashers, that's what it is. The movie.
Wedding Singers.
Wedding
You know
Crashers.
Wedding Singers?
No. I was thinking the movie, so Wedding Singer
I
is a
won.
movie, but Wedding Crashers, Will Ferrell was going, death is the greatest aphrodisiac.
Did you hear her Will Ferrell impression? Spot on.
That sounded like fat bastard.
Come on, say, Mom, where's the meatloaf?
Ma! I can't now.
I just got so starstruck.
Seriously, I thought Will Ferrell was in my kitchen.
And I'm holding the pen. I was ready. I was like, please, sign. Thanks.
Ma! Where's the meatloaf?
Just like it. Sounds just like it.
Well, I can't
Dude,
say. I can't
you
be
guys,
really loud
we
because
should-
the kids are sleeping.
We should change this show to just...
Ma! The meatloaf!
This should just be like a... We should do an impersonation podcast
Yeah.
where we all do these spot-on impressions.
Gerard Butler. Oh, I'm a Gerard Butler.
Oh, I'm a Gerard Butler.
The the only impression your audience is going to hear is an Asian one.
And now I'm going to be, now I'm a real pharaoh. I'm a funny.
I'm a Christian ring. You reckon me? I funny. I am on a SNL.
Oh, shit. Okay, you guys.
Okay, for
we
real.
got to do this.
This needs to be serious.
Number 4 is True Romance.
You and that movie. That's such a hard-on for that movie.
I have a hard-on right now.
That's disgusting.
No, okay, so I don't know any dude who doesn't, like, at one time have a dream that he falls in love with a prostitute and makes her stop being a prostitute and just loves him, and then you get to go and shoot her pimp and take her on a drug adventure.
Okay, now I
The
haven't
first
seen
half
it.
sounded like Pretty Woman.
That's
but...
what I said. Is this Pretty Woman?
It starts off like Pretty Woman, and then it goes off the rails. It's Pretty Woman if Richard Gere had a huge bag of cocaine that he was like, let's go sell this.
He didn't.
And, well...
I'm mixing up my movies.
Yeah, no, but, like, I loved the romance in that movie. Like, when they hump in the telephone booth.
Wow, that's romantic. I love it when my man, when my man gets me like just smushed into a little telephone booth.
But what if like your butt cracks
So
on
romantic.
the telephone and it starts ringing? Like, how do you answer? Do
Well,
you answer it with your butt?
What was super sexy is that Christian Slater was so short that he was standing on phone books to be able to get up there and thrust.
No, phone books with a phone booth.
What would phone books be doing in a phone booth?
They're attached on like the
You're a
the
millennial.
line.
You don't even know what the fuck a phone booth is.
Yes, I fucking do.
It's what Superman would change in the cartoons.
But the phone books were always on like a chain thing. They never touched the floor. How could he stand on them?
I think he yanks the chain. I think they actually show him do that. And
No.
then he pulls her underwear down and he's just
Christian
like,
Slater
oh.
with those like scraggly spaghetti arms? No, he ain't ripping anything anywhere except his ass.
He is a badass in that movie. And at the end, they go off together and they name their kid Elvis. And that's super romantic.
Elvis?
It's
That's so
true romance.
lame.
Whatever, at least he doesn't die and then send her notes about how she should go sing karaoke and fuck other dudes.
Honestly, I think we need to break both of these movies down and these opinions because there is some serious men versus women, Mars, Venus, whatever.
Men
Going
are
on.
from Mars
Yeah.
and women are Uranus.
That was a low blow.
Yeah, but it's not wrong. I mean, I love my gender,
Yeah.
but we are from Uranus.
You are an anus.
You're Uranus, but yeah.
I've seen the rings around Uranus.
Does it tell you how old I am?
According to the skids in your underwear, you're 54.
If there was a job for that, like to detect that, I would be the master beater of it.
You would be a skid mark counter? Is that what you're
I
saying?
feel like that's the only appropriate job for a trash person.
I feel like you could just smell underwear and know how many skid marks are in there.
It's a talent.
Like you could like do it at the fair. You know those guys who like guess your weight or your age?
I can make a lot of money.
You could. You like I think you have
I'm always
3 Lamborghini stains.
I mean, I can always guess your underwear, so. Because you got lots of poop stains in it. Because you're poop.
Mine aren't stains, they're actual poops.
Alright, what's your movie?
Number 3.
Yeah, what's your number 3?
You put your list down, you
Oh.
don't even know where you're at
I
right
already
now.
said my number 3.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
You
Alright.
must be high or something.
Oh, because we were talking. My number 3 is P.S. I Love You.
Okay. Now there's a part in P.S. I Love You that like gets you every time. You've told me about this. So tell us
Yeah,
about
but that's
that.
not funny.
Is
That's
it when
sad.
Gerard Butler takes off his suspenders and then goes like... or is that
No,
what she did
no.
that? It's been a while
He
since
did
I've
that. So yeah, no, that's a really sad story. You may
tell it.
That's gonna like downer this whole podcast.
Don't worry, we'll bring it right back up with Alicia's next pick, I'm sure.
All right, well, so the story I always tell him is that the scene that always gets me in that movie, but only because I can intimately relate to the sheer despair she felt, was the scene where she's going through these motions of trying to heal herself, and it's only been a few weeks, and she just has a complete meltdown and starts hyperventilating, and she runs into the bar, and she's screaming for her mom, and she's in her 30s, so to see a grown person, need their parent that bad gets you like kind of pumped up for what is about to happen. And then she's just sitting there gasping for air, saying, I can't breathe. It hurts so much. I can't breathe.
Aww.
And I relate to that because I remember the very first person I just was head over heels in love with. We had been dating for 2 years, and I just was crazy in love with him, and vice versa. We had agreed to break up because he was going to college elsewhere, and just it wasn't going to work out. But the first few weeks, I just remember how painful it was. And then one night, I was still living with my parents at the time because I was only like 21, and one night I just was in my bedroom just bawling, and I was hyperventilating. I couldn't breathe, and so I heard the television on, so I went out, and my dad was sitting there, and I just sat down on the couch, and he goes, "What's up?" And I just started bawling, just gasping for air. And it was the...
That's what I thought you were going to say. I had gas, and I just started
just
farting.
No, it was really like a heartbreaking moment for me, because it was like, that was kind of the turning point for having to acknowledge this whole love relationship with this person.
Love's
was done.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid!
But it took me 2 years before I could look guys in the eye. Even just like walking down the street, like I couldn't look at people in the eye after I broke up we broke up, but it was so painful. So I think it was honestly like, I think it was like 2 years before I even had sex again. So
that's a long time.
Yeah.
And then I was walking down the street, and we made eye contact, and she just ran across the street and jumped on me, and we had sex behind a mailbox.
Behind a dumpster.
And the rest is history. 2 kids, 7 years later.
2 kids and an Alicia later.
A trash person living on her couch.
Yeah, that is me. That's me. Oh, is it my turn?
Number 3, Alicia.
Number 3. The next, like, my top 3 are all top ones. So, my number 3, I put down Atonement. Oh. And that movie, the entire movie,
Keira Knightley,
breaks my
World
heart.
War II, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And James McAvoy. Fun fact, my first celebrity crush was James McAvoy as Mr. Tumnus from Chronicles of Narnia.
What?
Yeah.
Wasn't he super cute in that?
Yeah.
Beside the fact that his lower half was an avatar or whatever.
So this really tells you like what kind of person I am. Because my second celebrity crush was Billy Boyd as the Hobbit, as Pippin, as a Hobbit in Lord of the Rings.
So you're a Hobbit fucker.
Is that the little friend? It wasn't the main character. It was the little...
Not Samwise.
Oh,
that's okay. Sean Astin. Oh. That guy. Just kidding. If you're listening, Sean Astin, you're great. I love you. Can I have your autograph? But no, Billy Boyd. He was one of the 2 mischievous. You guys didn't even watch it.
It makes so much sense because I know your ex-boyfriend.
That's pretty funny. But it tells you I'm into fawn people and hobbits.
That's he's not a fawn.
You're into fairyland creatures.
Yeah, fairyland creatures for sure.
But I that was be a part of the furry club.
I could totally see James coming out as a minotaur.
I would be so into it.
What the hell was that guy? He wasn't a minotaur. He was a fawn.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I should never question your.
I know
your
Narnia.
Knowledge. Yeah.
Don't test me on it. James McAvoy.
But a fawn.
I know every hair
on
that man's.
A female deer, isn't it? And he was male.
I
was, yeah.
dear.
But it's a, no,
suffer
fawn.
my
I guess
mama.
fawn could be male or female. It's just a baby, isn't it?
Don't ask
Well,
me
maybe that's
science
why.
stuff.
He was a baby.
I just know, I know mythical stuff.
Yeah, well,
Not
that's
the
weird. Yeah,
science
I always thought he was really cute in that too. And then you look down and you're like, wow, you've
And
got
then he gets
two,
even cuter.
You can't really look
You've got a little furry
down. You
tail
kind of have to
and
look
two
to the
hooves.
side and underneath.
But
And then he probably has that yucky dog lipstick.
Cool.
yeah, does he have to lick himself? Like
He
a
doesn't
dog?
have to, but he does.
Because this James.
I don't think he doesn't at all do anything because he didn't even have junk.
He has junk.
got
No, there was nothing there. It was just
It was
fur.
underneath. It was tucked under his fawn tail.
His junk and in the trunk. He had it all going on.
He's-
Anyway, so atonement. Oh my god. Before we get on
Jeez.
sexy James McAvoy. Atonement is with Keira Knightley and James McAvoy, and then you say her name, Saoirse Ronan is how you say her name, but it's
Oh, yeah.
it's spelled like a lot of people are
She
just
was
like
in-
Sorry.
Yeah, she was in Lady Bird, and then she was on SNL, and she was really funny.
Fucking love her. She
Yeah.
is so great. She was a young girl, like pretty young.
She has a
played 10-year-old.
crazy accent
Yeah, she does.
in real life, but I don't think she talks like
Oh,
all.
she's gonna be really offended by her Gerard Butler impression.
So do an impression of
Or
her.
like, all I can do is her name, Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan. I'm Saoirse, and I go around, and I'm from Dublin.
That was so good.
From Dublin, and we have pints and Lucky Charms, and sometimes you can go for the rainbow. I don't know. I can't.
So
I
what
can't
was
do that.
Atonement about?
So it is. It's about James McAvoy's character and Keira Knightley's character. They have like this kind of forbidden love thing, and they there's just like
'Cause he's a
sexual
fawn.
tension. No, not this
Oh,
one.
this
But he
is
should
different.
be. He could be, and I'd still be in love with it. No, and there's like this like sexual tension between them, but they don't like pursue it. But then it cuts to, you see it from two different point of views. You see it from Saoirse's point of view, her character when she's young and she's really little, so like she doesn't really understand, you know, everything that's happening, and she just sees bits and pieces of them two interacting. And so like if they like have a fight or something and they just see, she only sees like a little angry snippet, but she doesn't see like when she looks away, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that happens that goes on, and the story kind of goes between all these different storylines, and then it gets into like what she sees with one of her cousins who was like sexually abused by like an uncle, and they end up later on, years later, getting married. Like she's forced into this marriage and stuff. So she's seeing all these weird things happening. And one thing that she sees is like she walks in on, and it's such a passionate, sexy yet weird scene, is that there's like this family gathering or something, and Keira Knightley and James McAvoy end up in this library. Like they're ready to just like bang and do it in this library. And Keira Knightley's wearing the most beautiful long emerald green dress. It's like iconic in Hollywood costuming. And the scene is where she's like spread eagle up against this bookcase, and it's just like James McAvoy's just like going at it, and then they don't see her, but they hear her that she's at the doorway while they're doing it. And so they just, you know, slowly, like she takes her hands off the bookshelf, and then, you know, he's still facing the bookshelf and zipping up, and they just pretend like nothing's happened and go on their merry way. But that's all she sees. So what she interpreted as, like, he may have been sexually assaulting her or something or whatever. It doesn't really say it, but like you get the vibes of it. And it's been a while since I've seen the movie, so it's gonna suck if anybody calls me out on this too. They're like, "That's not what happened." Like, I don't fucking know. But I think she ends up, something ends up happening. She ends up telling a parent. James McAvoy ends up getting taken away, I think, by police. And then the story progresses, and he's in this war, and she's like, they're still together, or, you know, they're writing letters, they still love each other, they're together, and then she wants to atone for what she did, and she feels really bad. So it shows her like going over to visit her sister when she's like now in her 20s or 20 years or something, and she wants nothing to do with her and just like, you've ruined our relationship. And then it shows him in the war and like all this other stuff. Turns out, and spoiler alert, I'm gonna ruin the end for you.
Go ahead. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Turns out none of that happened. They ended up not getting back together and finding their way back because she ended up drowning in a tunnel during the war. There was a flood and a whole, like, it's sad.
Oh my god.
And so she's like old, and it's a book that she wrote and what she wishes would have happened, but it didn't happen. But she still ruined them being together. So like the first part was true, like she'd caused all this animosity and everything, all these problems, sent him to jail or whatever, and then they never got a chance to be together. So she writes in her book what she wishes could happen, and it's atonement. And it's like a sad love story between family and James McAvoy. That's so fun.
Speaking of sad love stories, my number 3 is a basic bitch choice. But I can't help it because it gets me every damn time.
I wish I could fart so I can say it.
It's Titanic.
Oh,
Son of a bitch. That's what number fucking 2.
Oh.
And I was waiting until it came back around so you could ask me, Alicia, what's your number 2? And I'm like, number 2, like poop. And I would say my number 2 is the size of the Titanic.
That is what you wanted to make, that horrible joke, and that's what you're waiting for?
I was waiting for it to tell you my number 2 is as big as the Titanic.
This one's going down like the Titanic. Oh, she's breaking in half.
That whole story really is just about a giant.
Now here's the thing. So many people freaking jumped on the Titanic bandwagon after, because of Leo and Kate. I have been obsessed with the Titanic since I was a little kid. It's like the creepiest true life ghost story. Yeah. And all the crazy rumors and things that go into it. And then to me, seeing the footage of that ship underwater is so eerie.
And terrifying. But
exactly.
So interesting.
And then I just, like, you see it in its complete wreck, and it just makes me wonder, like, what would it have been like if they could have found the wreck right away after it sunk, when it was still all, like, pristine and shit? And I mean, now it looks like a haunted house. But back then, it would have been almost as eerie to see it in, like, all of its splendor.
Like, if you could time travel.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, just go stand on the dock just to see, like, what it looked like when it was leaving.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, all you people are going to die.
Well, and also, like, I can't help but wonder, like, where did all the bodies go that went down with the ship? Like,
sharks ate them.
There's no sharks that deep.
Well, the
Sharks
currents would
everywhere.
eventually take their bits and pieces farther south.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that, like, a lot of the bodies, like, were floating in the water, and the other ships picked them up. But there are a lot of people that, like, I'm surprised that, like, going through the wreckage, they've never found any human remains whatsoever. Yeah. So, and I mean, I know, like, fish and stuff down at that depth, and even bacteria would just eat it up. But then again, it's really cold down there, and they say that, like, cold, like, preserves bodies. So I don't know. And I almost wonder, have they maybe found bodies, and then because of the, like, respect for the dead,
they were alive.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And it was actually Kate and Leo, and they were like, "We found Rose and Jack,"
and they were like, "That fucking door really wasn't big enough, which is why we're down here."
Exactly.
Do you ever, like, when you see pictures online, like artifacts and like the
I've been to the exhibit and actually seen the artifacts.
I've never been. I really want to go.
It's weird being that close to stuff.
With, like, the history of it.
Yeah, it's really cool. You would dig it for sure. But yeah, and I thought that they did a really good job with the love story, even though, like, on repeated viewings, you're like, oh, this is kind of hokey in places.
Oh, I never think that.
Well,
that's my number 2.
Yeah, right? Didn't you, don't you, I'm pretty sure, like, when you were living here before and you just first met James, he was watching it in Iowa and you were watching it here, and you guys were like crying over the phone to each other. Am I remembering that wrong, or
and
that
we did
really
that
happened?
to The Notebook too.
Oh my gosh! I thought she was getting all emotional. It was a sneeze.
Yeah, we did that because that's what romance is.
Yeah.
It's watching shitty movies, or in his case, pretending to watch a movie via FaceTime, but maybe also browsing Facebook.
Probably playing like some NBA Live.
Or like
NBA
Golf
Jams
Clash,
Live.
that's his game.
Yeah, yeah.
He's crying, but not because...
He's like, God damn it, I fucking lost again. Yeah, no, we did it, because that's... I fucking love that movie. I saw my first boob in that movie.
That was your first boob?
Probably.
That's a major
moment. I was
moment.
6 years old when I saw Titanic, and it was the 2 VHS tapes.
Yeah.
And, you had to fucking get up and take that shit out and put the second half of the movie
or wait
in.
to rewind it. Oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
would take forever.
I never rewound tapes because I'm a trash person.
But what?
Because you're not kind?
Rewound?
It says right on the tape, be kind, please rewind.
I didn't have to.
And you're like, be a tramp, put it back in the case.
I leave notes, mind your own fucking business. But I was 6 years old, and that's when I saw Kate Winslet's red hair in that movie, and I'm like, I will have hair as red as that. And I will have boob as perfect as that.
You've just been working on sculpting one boob, and the other one's just like withered and sad and left to its own devices.
It looks like a raisin, like a big raisin.
But you just been like pushing on it, trying to get it to go into the other ones. You can have one perfect boob for James to draw.
Yeah. Dude, draw me like one of your
literally
French
James.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. Yeah. Right.
Lauren, you're number 2.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with comedy, and it's
That's not
Forgetting
a love
Sarah Marshall.
For
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Shisha, Jabba Shisha.
Yeah, I think that is a...
Whoa. You have to say the title right for those people.
I did, but you guys were talking about
No, you didn't.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's not how you pronounce that.
I love that movie as well.
That's such
And it helped me get through a very tough breakup in my life.
Yeah.
And I actually pre-watched it thinking, when this girl dumps me...
Watch a movie.
Well, no, I watched it before the breakup, and I loved it. And I was thinking, when this girl breaks my heart, then this is gonna be a great movie to watch.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to write a Dracula Muppet musical.
Wait, for your failed relationship, you wanted to...
Yes.
And where's this masterpiece?
Also, I kind of look like Jason Segel naked. So it made me feel a lot better about life.
Surprise for you.
That's the best. The slappy noise that it makes is so real. It's too much.
Like he legit was naked.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was drunk. When
And one butt cheek hangs down a little lower, which I appreciate so much, because mine always, like, no matter how much I try to stand and get the butt cheeks perfectly straight, they never are.
But you stand in front of the mirror and you're like, left cheek, right cheek, left cheek, right cheek.
It's gross that Lauren
Yes.
and I can confirm that both, because you won't stop mooning me while I'm here.
It is important that you see my butt cheeks
It's so gross.
every time you're not paying attention.
But what's more gross is that I think our butts look exactly the same.
It's like looking into a mirror of my own butt.
Oh, that's a lot of hair.
Oh, that's a hairy ass.
You have had a butt crack. You look like a wonton noodle.
Wonton noodle.
I don't know noodles. But yeah, you have just as much hair as I do, and I didn't think that was possible, because I have a hairy ass.
That's really upsetting.
But I comb it, so...
But you what?
I comb it. I comb all the hair into the butt crack. Because I had to hide it. So that way James doesn't see it. But sometimes he does, and he's like, ew, can you shave this? It's in my way. And I'm like, learn to love it.
It's too much. The window into your life is too much. Close it. Turn the blinds. Pull the shades.
If you don't love me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Oh man,
So-
I feel like this is a Finkel's Einstein. What is it?
I feel like this is where I'm going to start speaking another language.
Einhorn and Finkel. Finkel and Einhorn.
Finkel and Einhorn?
It has nothing to do with a girl having a penis.
Because she was talking about tucking her butt hair
Yeah.
in. And in that scene, he tucks his dick and balls in between his legs. And he goes, he's not a she, she's a he. Turns over.
I love when he's like, they play the crying game and he's like brushing his teeth and he's in the shower and he's like, ah.
I love the in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, the pearl necklace. When she's like, it's his brother's, yeah, it's his brother, right? And they're on Skype and he's at the hotel. Like, what is that? Is that a pearl necklace?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, can you see me? That actress cracks me up.
She's so funny.
She's
She
super
was
funny.
in Fat Guy in the Internet, which was a show on Adult Swim for a little while that was so fucking funny. And it was just like a little 6-episode thing. But she played like this girl that lived in the internet. It was so
That's
funny.
awesome.
Yeah. And then I was like,
I
oh,
see
that's the
that.
chick from Sarah Marshall. But yeah.
And see, you could do that with your Virgin Martys. A quick little 6 series, no? Oh my gosh, that was a piercing look, Jason.
On YouTube? You're talking about
Yeah.
Oh. I think it was on YouTube.
It was
No, I
on
know,
YouTube.
but I'm saying like,
And it was on its own website, and it was on Funny or Die, and it didn't ever pick up. So, and that was when we were all still the 3 best friends that anybody could have. And that is not the case anymore.
Well, you also had didn't you have Native Americans dancing around a boner?
It was Penis Indians.
yeah.
And yes. And they were
Native American drums playing.
They weren't, well, I guess if you're being PC, we just called them Penis Indians.
You know what you should
Racist or not.
do? You gotta
They
put the
were
clip
what they
from
were.
your
They were
lineup
what they
on
were.
from the Penis Indian.
I had a lot of different lines for what the penises were doing. I mean, what the Indians were doing around my penis.
Oh wait, that's right. And you clipped it all
They
together.
were using my...
Yeah.
What was the kindling one?
They were using my pubes for kindling.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I think that was one of the first. That was the first film thing I ever, because I was there for that, and I remember. I think was it the same one that you guys read out of the Book of Spells, and there was the chicken that. Oh no, that was a whole different episode, wasn't it? Or was
The
it
Book of
same-
Spells was an ongoing thing, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But I remember. I think that was.
Yeah, Lauren, that's cool. Just get up and start making a bunch of noise during a podcast. It was real loud. All right, Alicia, you're number 2.
Is as big as the Titanic. I hate you.
I'm so
You always
sorry.
gotta steal my thunder. I
Why?
always try to be cool.
Why
with
is
me.
Titanic number 2 for you? Why is it so high on your list?
Because it's a big boat. And I
Do you
like
think?
boats.
Do you think that romance can spur more on a boat? Do you think romance works more if you're in an enclosed space
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Like
if
a
you
closet.
were stuck on an island,
or the back of a Volkswagen?
oh, that'd be hot. Sticky leather seats.
Have you ever wanted to bone in a old rusty Ford to the point where it just gets so sweaty that you steam up the windows and then your hand just hits it?
No, it's not the question, have I ever wanted to? It's would I do it again?
Oh.
And yes, I would. In a cornfield.
Why are you always in a cornfield? I feel like that's all you have in Iowa.
Have you?
It's your only location, your only setting.
Have you not? Did you hear about Nebraska's new state slogan when you enter the state? So Iowa, when you get into Iowa, it's welcome to Iowa, fields of opportunity. And Nebraska's is now going to be, I don't know what it was before.
At least it's not Iowa.
It says Nebraska. Honestly, ... It's not for everyone.
That's amazing.
And I just think that's the greatest
I
thing
think
I've
all
ever-
states should change to an honest
Yeah.
thing. Arizona, It's hotter than fuck, but at least it's cheap.
At least it's not Satan's asshole. ...
Kinda is.
But Titanic for me was like, you know how some girls growing up, like Disney princesses, is there like all those like Disney romance. They keep that. They're like, oh, Disney set my expectations.
Apparently not, because
high.
neither one of you picked any Disney movies. It's your top 5.
Because we're not fucking stupid. Anyway, that Titanic was my guidelines for dating. And I was just like, if you don't fucking, sketch out my titty, if you don't get me the heart of the ocean, and if you don't fuck me in the back of some old ass car where we get all sweaty and I ask you, what, or you ask me, where to? And I say, to the stars. I don't fucking want it.
Creepy. Does he have to save you from suicide?
Also that. Number 1.
And pull you away from your rich, hoity-toity date with Billy Zane.
Well, that can go a little bit different. Like, we could kill him and then, like, take the insurance money and run.
Do you think that Billy Zane is an attractive man?
I think Billy Zane... I think the tip of his penis is just his face. I think he's weird. No, I don't think he's attractive. He's weird. I feel like he's a walking mole. I don't know. I just don't like him.
I am not... Wow, that was pretty harsh. I don't hate him that much. But no, yeah, he's not very attractive. He does something with his lips where, like, he exposes his gums and it looks like he's gonna, like, what is that? The little alien inside of the mouth?
Like a xenomorph?
Yeah.
You think Billy Zane's a xenomorph?
You said I was harsh?
Seriously.
I think it was just so harsh because this is, like, built up, like, aggression from when I was 6. Because that's when I first saw Titanic, and I was so passionate about it and his character. Like, when you're 6 years old, you're just like, I hate you, bad guy. You start punching the TV and then, like, break the VCR.
Oddly like SpongeBob.
I mean, yeah. It's my favorite. But yeah, I don't think he's attractive.
And then your dad was like, Alicia, this is why we can't have nice things. Because you punch the TV. Go outside and play with sticks.
I did get yelled at for making mud pies one time. Because I tried to eat it.
Probably because you peed in the dirt to make the mud.
How else do you make mud?
Dirty trash wench.
I can make my own mud, Daddy. Will you eat my mud pies? Fuck it! Get those out of the house! Alright, Lauren, you're number 1.
Wait, what was your number 2?
Oh, my number 2.
It's brown, stinky, and smells like poo.
My number 2
It is a poo.
is sitting in my underwear.
No, my number 2 is Say Anything.
The band?
Oh, really?
John Cusack and
John?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, I can't remember. Ione Skye is the girl in that.
That was a good
And
movie.
they're just two kind of oddball people that meet in high school. It's the kind of relationship that only happens in high school, where like you're two totally opposite people, but you find like crazy love with each other because like life hasn't started yet. And I love the scene where John Cusack's trying to impress her father, and he's doing the whole thing where he's like, well, what do you want to do with your life? And he's like, well, lately I've been kickboxing, but, I don't want to build anything or process anything or sell anything built or processed. Like, it's so good. I just love it so much. And he's like, what the fuck?
I've never seen it.
It actually is a really good movie. But that's like Breakfast Club era. You are a sucker for that, for like the late 80s film.
That's the one, Alicia, where he holds up the boombox and plays. Well, like everybody knows that scene, so.
Yeah, Bekinsales.
So you weren't like, oh, is that from a commercial?
Like an Allstate. Oh, you're in good hands.
You're in good hands. Say anything.
That just reminded me. You said John Cusack.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Serendipity.
That was another really good one.
I just watched that recently.
With Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Kate Beckinsale's so gorgeous.
So
She's
fun.
dating Pete Davidson now.
What?
Why does this disgusting turd keep getting all these hot ladies? The dude that was dating Ariana
Isn't
Grande.
she, like,
Is that for real?
Isn't she
For
like
real.
20 years older than him?
Yeah, but she's hot as fuck, so who cares? And he's ugly as shit.
Kate Bekinsales.
She's Kate Bekinsales. She
Hello.
fits nice into a leather onesie.
When I fart in this, I only get prettier.
When I fart in this, it goes down my legs, up my shirt, out my sleeves, and then just comes out as a little poof of strawberry next to my face.
And the pheromones specifically for me, Kate Beckinsale, and that's how I get all the men like Pete Davidson. I'm really, really, really lucky.
I'm really hot. My butt even smells like strawberries. When I fart, it sounds like this. You're welcome.
The description of this fucking podcast is going to be, stay tuned to hear the sound of Kate Beckinsale's fart.
You're welcome.
Anyway,
Well,
agreed,
now
she's beautiful.
I not only know what her fart sounds like, but what it also smells like.
It smells like strawberries that have been run through a field of angels and stardust.
Stardust is like cocaine. Oh, that's angel dust.
My farts smell like strawberries and angel dust.
Oh my god.
All right, Lauren, your number
My
one
number
most
one.
romantic movie, and you can't say the story of our lives.
No. I'm actually gonna go old school, black and white.
Oh man, I know what this is. 'Cause
Casablanca.
you made me
is
watch it the
my
second time we ever humped.
favorite.
Casablanca!
Oh, Casablanca.
You want to put your penis in me? We watch a Casablanca!
Pray it again, Sham.
At least you can quote it. Dang, that's good.
Is that the one where she's like,
Out of all the gin joints in all the world, you had to walk in the man.
I'm really either like blown away, impressed that you remembered it from the one time I asked you to watch it with me.
because that's when he lost his virginity, was after he said, watch this and I'll fuck you. And he's like, I'll finally get down.
We seriously did. We watched it in a weird little cubby in a cabin in Flagstaff.
A weird little cubby.
When my house was burning down.
Your house was burning?
We were evacuated from
yeah.
Fox Glen because the fire got so close.
That's right.
So we went to a cabin in Munns Park, and then we went into the game room, and we got up, snuggled up
It wasn't
on a
a
little
game
bed.
room. It was the upstairs loft, and it had one long hallway, and then on either side of the hallway was these walls that had cubbies in them, and they had windows in the cubbies and queen beds in these cubbies, and there's 4 of them.
Yeah.
It
I
was
feel like I would
beautiful.
jump around.
And they're for
all of that
another
cubby.
person's kids, and then we had sex on them.
I mean, you can talk now because like you can edit.
Seriously, the whole
Wait,
point
what was it? I
is
didn't
that
hear all
Alicia fucked in our pool.
Yeah.
And I had one rule. One rule, and you fucked in the book.
I mean, honestly, it's either
It's because you said that was your rule. She's like, oh, well, I'm fucking
absolutely.
doing it
I
Like,
now.
you told me when I moved in, you said
hope-
you can't shit in my bathroom. On my first thing I did,
That's-
took a shit right in your bathroom.
I hope you get a UTI from the chlorine.
It's been so long and nothing's happened. So, in fact, I'd fucking it again.
You bitch.
Fucking test
That's alright.
me.
You got sloppy seconds then, so.
That's right, because you don't even know how many loads I blow in my pool.
Well, you used to be a pool guy, so I know, like, in order to practice for your job, you had to clean your own pool. So,
No, I blew loads in other people's pools. And then practice cleaning them out.
Oh, man.
Okay.
So, okay, Casablanca
Number one is Casablanca.
yeah,
Because it's
I'm-
so romantic.
It is romantic, and I'm a sucker for black and white film. I'm a sucker for, early era, anything from 1900s to 1930s is just, I love it all. And it just is the ultimate love story. It's, this they fall in love, another time, another place. Life happens. They still are crazy in love with each other, but of course it was during the war, and they did what they had to do, and she was in a sort of a weird relationship with somebody else that, you know, he was supposed to be on the good side, but Humphrey Bogart played this very kind of like selfish dude that only ever wanted anything for himself. Well, that would be the definition of selfish, but
don't continue.
But yeah, so he played this dude that just all he wanted to do was drink his sorrows away and forget about this girl because he couldn't admit that he was just crazy and head over heels in love with her still. And then she shows back up in his bar in Morocco, and there's this whole back and forth, but she's married to another person because she thought he was dead. So it's just a really back and forth love story, and it's bittersweet. I don't know, maybe because it's just good movie.
Gives Jason diarrhea.
Yep.
Everything gives you some diarrhea.
I know, it was a good guess.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you say sorry?
I
Like,
did.
you give him diarrhea?
No. It was about something else that was in my head.
Oh
Something
no.
about fucking that I didn't catch. I heard it, but I didn't hear it.
No.
Fucking in the cabin, in the cabinet.
No.
Whatever it was.
Fucking in the cabinet. Yeah.
I don't know, coming out the closet.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, you have to say it. You have to tell me. It's not
Tell
fair.
me.
I want to stupid podcast.
All right, Alicia, your number one most romantic movie, the movie that just wets your box.
That makes me comfortable. Anything to do, flicking the bean, touching the purple booger.
Come on.
What is a ham wallet?
Why don't
All of
girls
it.
find those phrases romantic?
It's
That's how I got Lauren, was by saying those things. I was like, I would write her sweet letters.
Or she's slowly poisoning you because she's like, you will be the last one to ever use those euphemisms. Die!
You can flick my bean in hell.
Yeah, she's having the last laugh. So gross. But also really funny.
Yeah, I used to write her love letters like, Dear Lauren, how I wish I was with you right now, flicking your bean on a hot Sunday afternoon.
That's what was in Atonement. That's what he wrote in a letter. No, he was like something about your sweet cunt. And then he, like, because he had writer's block, and then he couldn't. And he
I don't think cunts is bad of a
said
word in England, though.
Wrong.
It's like fanny.
You're a fucking cunt!
Like, we say fanny, and they're like,
You did not call
but
me.
if you say
Funny.
cunt in America, it's the worst word.
See, I love it. And when people call me a cunt, like, I find it as a compliment, because it's like, thank you. You say I've got depth and I'm filled with warmth. Like, what better compliment is that?
Ew, what you just said. Depth and filled with warmth.
But is it true? Yes.
All right.
Yeah, my number one is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Because we talked about that.
Glorious, glorious movie.
That
I agree.
movie is... Yeah, it is one of those movies, though, like, when I'm feeling low, I want to see how low I can really get. And I just want to, like, you know, rock bottom, you kind of think, but can't I dig myself to a rockier bottom? I want to get all the sadness out, but I have to feel all the sadness. And just like, yeah, just kind of.
There's so many things to love about that movie, but like, yeah, the romance is just like two perfect people. They're perfect for each other, but just can't fucking get it together. And then it asks the question.
Too soon.
They do quit too soon, but it forces you to ask the question, like, if you had the ability to erase someone after you broke up with them, to not have to feel that pain anymore, would you do it?
It's all, I think, based off of like, what if?
Well, yeah, I mean, for sure, it's like, would you erase somebody? Is the pain worse than the good memories that you had with that person?
Yeah. And there's like a huge debate about the ending of it. Like, well, did they get back together?
Right.
And I mean, me being the hopeless romantic is like, well, fuck yeah, did you not watch the same movie I did?
Yeah.
And other people are like, well, it's left open to whatever interpretation. I'm like, yeah, except the wrong one, which is yours.
Well, and it asks the question of fate. Like, if two people are truly meant together and science can tear them apart. I mean, it's working on like a lot of different levels, but if science can tear them apart, will fate bring them back together? Like, it's crazy.
That was super cheesy, but like also perfect.
Right. Like, you guys just fell in love with me all over again, didn't you?
I never loved you. That's gross. But it is like my favorite movie. And I'm like, I don't think I want James like to watch it with me. I don't think he's ever seen it.
Because if he doesn't like it,
that's it.
It might be over.
That's the. I'd be like, look, I can't get past it. This is it.
The visuals in that movie. I mean, Spike Jonze is a visual filmmaker, but the visuals in that movie are insane.
Yeah.
The scene where she gets pulled across the ice backwards and then it like goes to black, and when they turn the person around and their face is blank, and he turns them around again and it's blank on the other side.
And when he's like running down the street and he keeps like turning into the same street and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And all he wants is to find her, but it's just never ending because it's just like, she's gone. It's done. And then also when he's a kid, she's a grown-up.
And he's under the table, and they did that forced perspective.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. She's an adult and he's a little kid, and they're using a table that is like an oversized prop to make it look like she's huge and he's little. It's crazy.
That's really cool.
And the way you tell time in that movie, because it jumps all over, is based on her hair. Like what color her hair is will tell you like what time period the movie's in and how like grown out it is.
And I just love that Elijah Wood is also in there as like a stoner little monkey.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like he really probably is a stoner little monkey in real life. All right. So my number one is going to be super controversial, and you guys are going to hate me. My number one is Moulin Rouge.
Did Lauren say, you said your number one?
It was Casablanca.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge. I think that is such a freaking gorgeous love story. Like, again, it's always the forbidden love that can't happen. You know, he's in love with this girl who it belongs to her career. Essentially, she's like a super high priced whore, basically, and everybody gets a piece.
Isn't she dying though?
And yeah, she finally like they fall in love, and then she's supposed to marry this super rich dude who's gonna like buy the club and like produce shows, turn it into instead of like a nudie show thing, he's gonna turn it into a legit theater, and she'll be the star. But he's a piece of shit. So like to fool him, they actually make a play that is based on what is happening in real life. Like in the play, there's like an evil Maharaja who has taken this beautiful princess, but she's really in love with this sitar player. And that's what's really going on, is that she's supposed to be marrying this rich dude so that she can become a star and live how she's accustomed. But she's really in love with this poor little writer who doesn't make any money.
And then they also have the song, "Hey Sister Go, Sister Flow."
Which, yeah, if you can't get down to that song, like... And it's a very 90s like collection of 90s pop stars.
Yeah, like Pink.
It's Pink.
Maya,
Maya, yeah, where did Maya go? She was so good and she's just gone.
She's around.
Isn't Mary J. Blige in there?
Mary J. Blige.
Christina Aguilera is on that track. I mean, I could watch that. Like, that music video came out right when I was like 16.
So you had your first boner in Moulin Rouge?
It wasn't my first boner. It was probably my 500 millionth boner, but it was one of my greatest brand new boners. Like, I was like, I haven't had a boner that really impressed me in a while. And then that video comes on and all those girls are dressed in little skimpy outfits. And I was like, this is a new boner I didn't even know about.
You've like leveled up on your boner.
Yeah. It's my Moulin Rouge boner. And I really thought, like, I was totally, I hate musicals. Fucking hate them.
No,
but
you said you loved High School Musical when it came out.
No. No, I did not ever say that. How dare you?
You like wear t-shirts to this day.
But so I hate musicals, but that was the first one that I remember where it took like modern songs and then worked them into the music. And so part of the fun is being like hearing like a song and then being like, oh fuck. Like when they start doing Roxanne, they're like Roxanne, and you're like,
how do they do it?
What? And when they do Like a Virgin, that is so funny. Like, so they just, I love the way that they did the music and worked it into the movie. So that made it cooler.
I didn't like about it was Ewan McGregor.
I love Ewan McGregor.
I like him in it. It's just a lot of his songs. It's like he was like smiling all the time and then yelling, singing at me, and it was just like, just sing softly to me. Like I want to love you so much, and you're making it really hard with like how much you're yelling at me.
It's not as bad as like the dudes from Mamma Mia though. Those guys were bad singers.
Oh, they were. I don't know why they did that.
Ewan McGregor is a pretty good singer, and Nicole Kidman's a really good singer.
Yeah,
but she's good at everything except for marrying Tom Cruise. That was probably a bad idea.
Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, they were married for like 1,000,000 years.
I thought she's always been with Keith Urban.
Are you serious?
That's because you're a millennial and you don't know shit about anything.
You're dating yourself to be young.
He says the guy who's fucking wearing Spider-Man socks.
They're also, they've got like sponges on the
They're
bottom so I don't slip.
Because you're old. No, I guess
They were married for a really long. They have 2 kids together, I think.
Yeah. Nicole Cruz and Tomas Kidman.
I guess I was never invested so much in Nicole Kidman's personal life, but I just know she's currently married to Keith Urban. So I said, Nicole Kidman. I'm Nicole Kidman. This is my husband, Keith Urban. Or when Keith Urban's on stage, he's all like, Oi, Nicole Kidman Urban, come out on stage.
You sound like an old Cockney gentleman.
Which is Keith Urban.
I suppose so. Alright guys, we've totally done it. We did our Valentine's episode, and I'm pretty sure that people's hearts have grown 3 sizes over this last hour as we've discussed.
Just because of me.
The most romantic movies. I really think that we've made people's hearts swell. I think we've made probably couples are like holding hands and kissing.
And then people like Jason are just standing there crying alone in their room holding their dick in their hand. But listening to us be like, this is a really good podcast. So
like just crying and whacking off.
right on the laptop screen.
I think people are going to be googling Kate Bekinsales farts after this podcast. We might even have to name this podcast Kate Bekinsales farts.
So
Yeah.
I think it's appropriate.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, as usual, you guys, I want to plug the website. Check out talkingpooppodcast.com for all of the news and info. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Alicia's new page, trashperson.com.
Yes.
What?
Twitter.
Use your name out loud.
Twatter.
Twatter in your Twitter.
Of course, Twitter. We're on all the social media sites. And,
We're on the interwebs.
We're on the interwebs and whatnots.
Multiples.
All right. Lauren, I want you to leave us with some words of wisdom. Perfect.
You gotta like tell me to do that before we do this, because I can't just like, I don't have words of wisdom.
No, you have to leave us with some words of wisdom.
Make sure you get the extra crumbs out of your ass. I don't know.
That's important. Make sure you get the crumbs out.
Oh, yeah.
Always wipe back to front. No. I screwed that up.
That's your advice.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Jason.
Yeah, because then you get crumb balls.
Crumbles.
You have my dirty crumb balls. Jason, did you watch your crumb balls? Because I am not going down on you if you didn't watch your crumb balls again.
I saved the first one.
That's weird. I think there's a cartoon on Netflix right now that's called Bumbles and Grumbles, or Grumballs.
Gumball.
But they look like the little green evil guy from Care Bears.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking.
So what evil green guy from Care Bears?
The bad guy. The
Evil
bad,
green
the
guy. Are you
bad Care
talking
Bear.
about Jason?
I think his name is
again?
Grumble.
Alicia, your words of wisdom.
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag blowing through the wind, wanting to start again? Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Baby, you're a firework. That's it.
Alicia, that was beautiful.
Wow.
And
I felt like we were about to like have one of those poetry throwdowns.
Slam poetry. Fuck yeah. That's good.
That's how you were narrating.
That's kind of hard to say, like to speak. I was thinking, I'm like, do you know, like a plastic bag?
I was hanging off every word. I really liked it.
You.
All I kept thinking you were gonna say is, "Do you ever feel like the Muffin Man?"
I thought trash bag, which is me. Like I do feel like a trash bag blowing through the wind, but I am literally a trash bag.
You look like a trash bag blowing through the wind.
Yeah.
Like a wet, muddy
But
trash.
I look like a Target bag, I think. It's like a little bit higher, thicker
Yeah.
material.
No.
Like you can put cat litter in it. It's not gonna like.
Tear out the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's wishful thinking.
Yeah. Thank you.
I look at you as more of like a Big Lots bag that
Oh my
is going to
God.
tear out the bottom.
But it's so big, you can fit so many pillows in it. Well, I've never had to fit pillows in a big.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Thanks for talking some poop. And join us next week where you can get all your fine fleshings in one podcast.
Oh, and happy Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day!
Happy Valentine's Day. Sorry they don't make sweet tarts anymore.
Except for me.
You tart.
When are they going to make Cadbury
She just
Hearts?
called me a tard.
Where you bite into it and it like squirts yolk in your mouth.
Yeah, you'd really...
I swear, you guys, it's yolk. It's a Cadbury Heart.
You really like candy that squirts in your mouth.
James, you got it in my beard again.